Would everyone please stand for the prayer and pledge of allegiance? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We will move on to item D, the consideration of Republican Party nomination to vacant council seat. Andy, can I go to you?
Sure. As we know, that last Tuesday evening? Monday? Time flies. Last Monday evening, the Republican Party met, had 4 candidates for the position. Republican Party precinct members from the city recommend Jordan J. McBride as the next city council member.
Thank you. Exciting news to have someone join us. With that recommendation, could we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Okay. That passes. Jordan, welcome. Come on.
I had one shot again,
Before Jordan even sits down, we will move on to item E, the administration of oath for new city council member. Joe?
All right. Welcome, sir. Okay. If you raise your right hand, please, and then repeat after me. I, Jordan McBride,
I, Jordan McBride,
do solemnly swear that I shall support the Constitution of the United States
that I shall support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Ohio
and the state of Ohio
and the charter and ordinances
and the charter and ordinances
of the city of Napoleon, Ohio,
of the city of Napoleon, Ohio,
and that I shall faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge and perform the duties incumbent upon me as a member of city council for the city of Napoleon, Ohio, to which I have been appointed. Before you do your speech, I need you to sign whatever you can have the floor for your speech.
Yeah, okay.
It's limited to 20 minutes.
Settle in.
This is the Napoleon version of the Cuban 7.
Yes. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit, tell
Yeah.
us why you wanted to be part of the council.
Yeah, so I'm Jordan McBride. I grew up on L108, so just outside of the city limits, but I probably spent as much time in the city limits with my grandpa as I did on the outside. Just excited to get back to my community. I moved back here after college, didn't really plan on being here, and then I met a really good girl, got married to her. I have no plans of leaving now. Excited to get back. Again, I'm from Napoleon, so some of the talents that I developed in Napoleon High School through the 4-H program in this county, all those leadership activities, even in athletics, excited to kind of give back to those that have given so much to me. So I appreciate all of your guys' trust and the honor that this is. Thank you.
Jordan, welcome. We're excited to work with you.
Appreciate it.
We will move on to item F, the State of the City Address by Mayor Belarucci.
Thank you, Council President. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's with great honor and gratitude that I stand before you as mayor of this great city. Tonight, I will highlight the outstanding achievements and ongoing efforts of our city departments, all working tirelessly to enhance the quality of life for every Napoleon resident. Our goal remains clear: to make Napoleon a better place for each and every one of you. Let's begin with our favorite department, wastewater. Jeremy Oakley and his team at the wastewater treatment plant achieved significant milestones in 2023, including the commission and optimizing of Van Hyding lift station and related facilities. Looking ahead in 2024, their focus is on completing ongoing improvement projects, further enhancing the efficiency of wastewater treatment. Moving on to the finance department, under the dedicated leadership of Kevin Geringer, in 2022 we received the Auditor's State Award for distinction of our year-end audit, which we received that in 2023, and the Government Finance Officers Association recognized us with a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. To top it off, the city of Napoleon collected an all-time high of $6.1 million in income tax. These achievements are a testament to our commitment to fiscal responsibility and transparency. Great job, Kevin, and your team. Moving on to our police department. Chief Legg, welcome, Chief. I know you and Chief Mack worked together throughout the year of 2023 to accomplish these achievements I'm going to speak about here. You successfully completed a total software changeover to Central Square, integrating new and existing programs for more efficient operations. Additionally, there were significant improvements in expansion of less than lethal equipment and techniques, making our city safer for everyone. Looking ahead in 2024, training and continued development of needed law enforcement skills in a variety of disciplines with a focus on leadership and maintaining our own qualified instructors, which this will make training convenient for our staff as well as lower the costs associated with the training. So, thank you for all that you've done, Chief, and I look forward to working with you in 2024. Okay, moving on to our law department with our law director, Billy Harmon. Again, in 2023, the law department, this huge department, Billy and Tammy, have consistently demonstrated exceptional legal skills and expertise throughout the year. Their extensive knowledge of municipal law, local ordinances, and state regulations has greatly benefited the city and its residents, and their advice and counsel to have been instrumental in guiding important decisions and mitigating potential legal risks. One thing I have to add, our law department knows how to make the longest sentences that I've ever read, so that was one of them. Thank you.
I know you're reading them. So.
Right, yes. One good example of this has been their guidance and leadership in handling the marijuana problem ensuing from the recent state vote. The law department was ready with research and answers as soon as this change took place. In this situation and in all others, the law department provides well-researched and comprehensive legal opinions within the stipulation timelines that we ask. Further, in cases where litigation was unavoidable, the law department has shown exceptional skills in managing legal proceedings effectively. Their strategic approach, attention to detail, and ability to anticipate and refute opposing arguments have contributed to positive outcomes for the city. The law director has successfully defended the city's interests, negotiated favorable settlements, and when appropriate, and minimized financial risks associated with legal disputes. This includes misdemeanor, traffic, and criminal cases. The law department has handled thousands of traffic cases and hundreds of criminal cases, to successful outcomes in the year 2023. These are just a few examples of the successes coming out of the law department, and this year we expect more of the same. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Tammy, for me.
Yep.
Now let's talk about what our fire department has been up to. Other than showing off their cooking skills yesterday at their annual pancake breakfast, which was delicious, I think we need to make that more than an annual event, at least twice a year would be great. The department is led by Chief Bowen. In 2023, the department accomplished a multitude of projects from promotions to office remodels and equipment upgrades. Looking forward to 2024, they have ambitious goals, including applying for assistance to firefighters grants, purchasing new equipment, and strengthening relationships with county departments. The dedication of our fire department ensures the safety and well-being of our community. Here are some specifics from 2023. A much needed remodel of the chief and assistant chief's office, a remodel of the dormitory bathrooms and shower area due to burst water line during extremely cold weather. They also received a donation of new grain rescue 2 and grain vac from the Andersons Corporation, and made the switch from NORC's Northwest Ohio Regional Public Safety System to MARCS, the multi-agency radio communication system. And they also added communication capabilities to the rescue airboat. They also hired 2 full-time members to the department, which puts the department at full strength, and filled all permanent part-time positions as well. This year they will be upgrading cardio equipment to the fitness area to provide better opportunities for members' health and well-being, and they will begin the process of the specs for the new fire engine. We'll move on to the IT department. Under the leadership of Dustin Tewksbury, in 2023, Dustin and his whole team, which consists of himself and Justin, played a crucial role in collaborating with the county to develop a secure tunnel, ensuring seamless authorized access to Central Square resources for all agencies. Looking forward to 2024, they will be creating a brand new IT space that will be super secure and designed just for their team. It'll keep all important information safe while making them even more productive than they are now. Moving on to the Public Works Department, that's led by Chad Luffs. And Chad highlighted the completion of the Meekison Street project and the upgrade of the US 624 and State Route 108 interchange in 2023. As we move into 2024, we look forward to completing the Oakwood Avenue improvements project. This is a significant milestone in our city's history. And if anyone knows Chad, we know that he's not one to brag about himself or the accomplishments he's made. So those were the only things I could squeeze out of him for this. So I just want to add my appreciation to all the work behind the scenes that Chad and his team does on a day-to-day basis, especially your focus on this saving the city millions of dollars by seeking out every grant possible for all the many projects needed to enhance quality of life in Napoleon. Thank you, Chad, and your team. Moving on to the operations department. Brian Oakley, leading the operations department, shared accomplishments such as acquiring new trucks and completing spring and fall cleanups in 2023. Our spring and fall cleanups combined resulted in 401 tons that we took to the landfill, 46 tons of scrap metal, and just over 1 ton of tires. We also did grinding of the brush at the yard waste site 3 times this year, which I believe is the most that we've ever done so far. Also, they upgraded their GIS software, valve exercising and flushing data, updated data, daily from work orders, and EPA lead and copper rules on mapping. Water Department replaced 5 city-owned lead service lines and repaired 2 major water main breaks. One was in around June or July on Independence Drive, and the one in November was underneath the river. Looking ahead, these are a few of the goals the department set for 2024. EPA lead and copper rules inventory, which is due by 2024. If you happen to listen to the radio this morning, Chad and Brian were on talking about how this is going to work out and what the citizens can do to help us achieve these goals. Also, they will be doing concrete grinding at the yard waste site and sanitary cleaning and root control. Move on to the water department. Let's talk about some of the things that our water superintendent, Jeff Weiss, and his team did. They play a vital role in Napoleon's enhanced quality of life by directing their focus at the water plant to continue to optimize our new membrane facility, as well as maintain EPA compliance with safe drinking water. As a result of their efforts, the City of Napoleon water plant received no notices of violations from the Ohio EPA in the year 2023. Congratulations to Jeff and his team on that. Here are some specific tasks completed in 2023. They'll give a glimpse into the complexity of the work that they do. They replaced the main SCADA and controls computer and software, inspected intake crib in the Maumee River, filled in lagoon site and prepped ground for mowing, repaired a leak on a 16-inch main under the river, purchased replacement intake screen plates for sprockets, worked on an update for EPA contingency plan, and in their spare time, they wanted to make sure they were up to compliance with all of their trainings. So staff attended the annual AWWA State Water Rep Conference in Columbus this year. They also attended and represented the City of Napoleon at the Ohio Rural Water State Conference in Wilmington and Dublin, as well as many other classes and licenses that they require, and they continue their education. The department goals of 2024 include optimizing water treatment, applying for grants, and maintaining essential infrastructure. And they will also be rehabbing the exterior and interior. They'll be patching the interior of the south water tower as well. They will update redundant SCADA PLC in main membrane building. All right, moving on to our human resource department. Brittany Rook, managing human resources, highlighted the department's role in numerous retirements, promotions, and hiring initiatives in 2023. Brittany got to deal with we had 4 retirements, 9 promotions, hired 13 full-time employees, and 51 part-time employees in 2023. Brittany also helped administer, supervise, and manage the fire department fire chiefs assessment conducted by the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. She also built 2 different internal promotional assessments from the ground up for the police department and fire department, which brought 2 new individuals into the sergeant, which is police department, and captain fire department roles. She also reconstructed the open enrollment platform of our Borma management group to make it easier, user-friendly, and more seamless process for our employees. Looking ahead to 2024, the department aims to continue successful transitions complete certifications, and maintain a strong presence in recruitment efforts. Brittany is involved with recruitment efforts with the 4-county career, Henry County CIC, Career Affairs, Napoleon Local Schools, University of Toledo Career, Owens Community College, and Northwest State Community College. Thank you, Brittany, for everything you do there. Okay, so since I'm about halfway through and I don't want anybody to fall asleep, I thought I would throw in a little bit of trivia. So, how many parks do we have in Napoleon? Have any guesses at all? 9. You say 9? Anybody else have a guess? Okay, we have 11. And when I took my break this afternoon from going through this, I drove around to all 11 of them. I was going to make you guys name them all, but so I wrote them down today, and I did verify with Tony to make sure that it was correct. So we have Glenwood Park, Oakwood, Oberhaus, Ritter, Meyerholtz, Wayne, East River Downs, Swearingen, Vorwerk, Veterans Park at the Bridge, and the Pocket Park. So that leads me into Parks and Recreation. And I've been impressed since I've come to live in Napoleon over 25 years ago at how many parks that we have and how many things that we have to offer for our residents here. So, Tony pointed out the golf course, the accomplishments we had there in 2023. Had a record-setting revenue far exceeding the projections. Increases were seen in corporate memberships, green fees, and league participation. A successful start to the new indoor golf simulator has provided additional off-season revenue. In 2024, the golf club will be implementing a new online tee time and website platform. This coming season, customers will have the ability to schedule tee times online through our newly established website at NapoleonGolfClub.com. In September of 2023, a complete renovation of the Glenwood Park ball field began through a partnership with the Wildcat Youth 23 Athletics Organization. Through generous donations from the Gherkin Companies, Vernon Nagel Incorporation, the Bruce, is that Fortier?
Close enough.
Is that okay? Charitable Trust, Mel Landry Company, and others. A brand new state-of-the-art facility began construction. The old press box and existing field were demolished and major excavation began. Following the installation of concrete perimeter walls, new field turf was installed in December. In 2024, a new restroom/press box facility, fencing, field lighting, and a new scoreboard will be constructed. The field is scheduled to be complete for the start of the baseball and softball season. The facility will be named the Ball Field on Glenwood. Moving on to our electric department. Greg Kuhlman from the electric department highlighted accomplishments such as new equipment, pole replacement projects, and mutual aid efforts in 2023. The department received a new digger truck this year, and they also pole replacement projects on State Route 108, 110, and County Road 03. A total of 49 poles being installed. They also worked on electric service to the new spec building on Independence Drive, and they went and helped out with mutual aid in Wapakoneta after they had a tornado there, and Hillsdale after an ice storm last year. They also installed EV chargers at both Snyder Auto Group locations. 2024 projects include AMI, which is advanced metering infrastructure, some upgrades to the fairgrounds. They'll replace 34 poles around the horse track and a 3-phase electrical service for the new ag building. electric service to the new 216-unit apartment complex that's going to be on Trail Drive, and supply and install lights at the Glenwood Park ballpark. And now I'd like to give a huge thanks to our city manager, Andy Small. Andy has a task of coordinating all of these city departments to ensure there is required communication to continue the quality of life our citizens expect and deserve. I made a list of everything Andy has accomplished in 2023, but that list will add another 2 hours to the speech, so we're not going to go there. I just want to thank you again, Andy, for everything you do for the city. Last but not least, City Council. Thank you all for your commitment to the residents of the city of Napoleon, to have their best interest in mind, in the forefront of your mind, while you make important decisions that will continue to enhance the quality of life for all of us who call Napoleon home. In closing, I want to express my gratitude to each department head and their dedication, or their dedicated teams, for their hard work and commitment to the betterment of Napoleon. Together, we continue to strive for progress, ensuring that every resident experiences an improved quality of life in our wonderful city. Thank you.
Nice job. We'll move on to item G, the approval of minutes for the January 15th, 2024 regular council meeting. In the absence of any objections or corrections, those minutes shall stand approved. I'm hearing none, they will stand approved. Item H, citizen communication. If there's anyone in attendance tonight or online that would like to address council on anything that is outside of the agenda, feel free to come forward, and we'll be happy to hear you. We move on to item I, reports from council committees. Item I-1, the Finance and Budget Committee did not meet on January 22nd due to lack of agenda items. The Safety and Human Resources Committee did not meet on January 22nd due to lack of agenda items. And the Technology Committee did not meet earlier tonight due to lack of agenda items. Move on to item K, introductions of new ordinances and resolutions. Item K1, ordinance number 003-24, an ordinance amending sections 925.07, 925.12, 925.13, 925.16, 925.17, 925.19, and 925.22 of the City of Napoleon, Ohio codified ordinances as they relate to refuse service, also amending ordinance numbers 08204 and 06218, rules for disposal at the city's yard waste collection site. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Andy?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'll start out by being somewhat redundant and repeat what I spoke about the last council session and why I asked for this legislation to be brought forward. This issue was brought to my attention by operations staff some time ago. It was initially targeted at yard waste operations, but it quickly developed into a review of all the rates and fees related to the 560 revenue fund and the 561 depreciation reserve fund. The refuse rates have not been modified since 2008, 15 years. We've had that rate of $18 for 15 years. Since then, we've had modifications or increases in disposal fees, recycling costs, mosquito spraying, chemical costs, and fuel prices. And factor in the overall effects of inflation, and you can imagine what it's done to the costs. The yard waste fees themselves haven't been modified since they were developed 20 years ago, in 2004. When we looked at increasing those numbers, most of them we simply applied the rate of inflation over the last 20 years to come up with some new numbers. As the mayor spoke about in the State of the City address, we did grind 3 times this year at over $45,000 total cost. So it has become quite pricey, and again, these fees are basically driven by value on that site, the use of the site. They're not meant to be punitive, but we're just trying to cover our costs. So with that said, I will go into the ordinance and we will go through it. Tammy and Billy have reviewed this, and so all the changes in the ordinance have been struck in red and identified in blue. The first one is this. Okay. First one is simply the penalty if you do not have your bag tagged. If you have extra bags, you're allowed 2 bags. If you have any extras, they're $2. Currently $2. We're going to ask that to be raised to 4. And if you do not have them tagged at all, that rate is currently a $4 penalty, and we're asking that to be raised to 6, and that's what you see here. The second one is simply how we're notifying. It always was simply the local newspaper, and we've since have been utilizing the city's website, Facebook page, and utility bill. Now getting down to the rates, again, what we currently have is an $18 rate. It's been in place for 15 years. We're asking that to be raised to 20. And then outside the corporation limits, for anybody living out there that gets picked up, we're asking that to go from $24.30 to $26 a month. Moving down, this is the charge per tag. It's currently $2. We ask that it be raised to $4, in which case they'll be using 2 $2 tags. Tags affixed to the outside of the bag, as always. Moving down, commercial recycling service when provided by the city in or outside the corporation limits, asking that to be raised to $20 from $18. This simply follows the practice that this simply was changed to follow the practice that we've had for some time. This says that the garbage will be left if it's not tagged. That's not the practice we've been following. We pick up the bags, we make note of the address, and then we charge the customer on their utility bill for those extra bags. Moving on down, there are certain utility customers that have their garbage either picked up by a commercial service or their downtown business. They can pay $6 per month, and we don't take their garbage, but they get utilization of yard waste site, mosquito control, specially announced pickups, and then that also covers the pickup of all our public commercial containers or large garbage containers around the city. Currently, we charge $5.60 if you want a special pickup. We charge $5.60 a yard. There was nowhere that I found that in any ordinance. So what we'd like to do is change that to $15 per cubic yard, and that is for anything extra that you want picked up over and above your regular garbage. So if you have an old chair you want to get rid of, or you can name it, and we will go out and pick it up, but we will only do that on the regular refuse day. But we'll pick up extra garbage as well, and that will be at $15 per cubic yard, whereas currently it's $5.60. This is being struck here. It's just not the way that we've been doing business for a number of years. When we have charges, for instance, these the seasonal pickups, tires, we go by whatever the landfill charges to get rid of them. So every year that can be adjusted depending on what the rate is they charge. Whiteware, Freon whiteware whatever they charge us to get rid of it, that's what we charge the customers. So this has it going through the VOPA every time, placed on file with the finance director, subject to any amount of, it's just not the way we've been doing business. Loose yard waste here gets struck. We do not pick up loose yard waste as part of your garbage. And that has been for a number of years. And this is struck here because it refers to that, goes back and refers to this loose yard waste provision. Moving on down. The mulch. City will load mulch for $8 for your first scoop. And that scoop can be anywhere from 2 to 3 yards. And then $4 for each additional scoop. And that's if you pull up a truck with a trailer or whatever, we'll load it. We will deliver with a small truck within the city for $16. And outside the city, we'll deliver it for $16 plus $3 per loaded mile. Whereas in the past, it's been $1 per loaded mile. With a large truck, we will deliver it for $24 inside the city, and outside the city, that same $24 figure, but it goes up to, or it's at $3 per loaded mile versus $1.25 per loaded mile. The next one here is just the hours of operation. We changed it to reflect our current hours of operation. Getting down to the end, currently if you live outside the city, you can pay this $60 fee and you can utilize our yard waste site. We'd like to increase that to $75. The businesses that, again, going back, those residents and businesses that pay the $5 fee for yard waste, mosquito spraying, special pickups, we ask that be increased to $6. And then the last couple of the contractors, we guesstimate at least 80% of what we gather out there at the yard waste site in terms of limbs and tree debris comes from contractors, tree service contractors. They currently pay us $200 a year to utilize that site. As I just said, this year we spent over $45,000 to grind that stuff. We're asking that be raised to $1,000 a year. And if you are a contractor from outside Henry County, we ask that be increased from $200 to $2,000 a year. Those are all the fees. And now let me go back to this summarizes it. You've received this in the packet a couple of times. This summarizes the changes that I just outlined in the ordinance. And certainly open to discussion. There were 3 of them that when it went through committee were changed. The special pickups per cubic yard, I said was $5.63, and we asked it. We had initially asked it to go to $17 per cubic yard, and the committee dropped that to $15. Small load delivered, $16. That was $16.25, and large load delivered is $24 in the ordinance, and when it went through committee, it was $24.50. So those got adjusted. How did we come about these numbers? So it was a long, drawn-out process. We have a brilliant administrative assistant out in operations named Brandy Gonzalez who developed a spreadsheet. It was very complex, but she did a phenomenal job of putting it together. This just basically is a customer summary. It shows you how many customers we have in each class, and the price that each one of those pays per their class. Going down to these numbers, this is kind of where rubber meets the road. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Excel spreadsheet. As you can see up here, this is our carryover balance, or our beginning balance for each year up here at the top.
Andy, can you enlarge that at all?
Bottom right corner. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
We invited you for
See?
something
Making a difference.
already. You can see since 2020, our carryover balance or 2021, our carryover balance has been diminishing every single year. We want to put a stop to that, basically. What is the perfect number? Back a dozen years ago, when I sat in your seats, we always thought $1 million was the right number. Didn't want to go anywhere under $1 million. Right now, if you buy a truck, a refuse truck, the last one was $330,000. They're not getting any cheaper. Currently, we utilize 2 trucks during the week and a third from time to time that we keep. And we're going to be replacing one, I believe, in 3 years, another one. Yeah. We do have our depreciation fund, we're adding $60,000 to next year. It went from $277,000 in 2023 down to $27,887 this year because we pulled the money out of there to pay for the new truck. But we need to fund that, and obviously our fees and rates go into funding that equipment. Again, if you go back to these numbers, you can see the balance. This is all of our revenue up here that I went over earlier. That has been relatively stable. And then down here are our expenses. And you can see how those have increased year over year down here in this line. Let's see. So, once you put this together, you can see down here, it shows everything's got a divisor of 4,581. That's the total number of customers. I tried to define it in the committee, and it really took me several weeks after that to completely wrap my head around how to get to that right number, because that's not the right number. It's somewhat of a sophisticated math problem for me, anyway. But I came up with a number of 3853. So down here, because most of our customers, well, we have, let's go back to that customer list. That's here, refuse customers. 3,585 of our 3,528 of our residents are paying $18 a month. There's over 1,000 of them that are only paying $5 a month. So you can't really use this number as the divisor. So through mathematical magic, I came up with the number of 3,853 as a divisor. So if you throw that in there, this $17.77 goes to $21.12. That was basically our cost in 2023 for those services. This number over here, these numbers in red, that is basically taking the 2024 budgeted numbers and applying the increases that I just talked about that are in the ordinance. And you can see it provides us more revenue, but it still doesn't cover our costs. Those are budgeted numbers. Remember, we're a conservative community. We always budget our revenues low and our expenses high. So if you take those same numbers and apply them to the 2023 numbers, I think it'll give you a more realistic picture as to where we will end up. So again, those numbers are applied over here to this this column K, and it gives you a much, I think, better picture. And again, our costs are $20.34, and again, that is with the increases applied. So that's with the numbers that are in the ordinance. With those applied, we're at $20.34. I know I've thrown a lot at you. Are there any questions so far?
That 25 number, that's the average cost to our customers, or that's the average cost from the city's perspective?
From the city's perspective.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we know what the average cost per customer is or would be?
I guess I'm confused about your question.
So if my trash bill is usually $16 a month, I guess what would it be after these changes? Or would it stay at 16 unless I'm doing additional services like extra trash bag pickups?
Yeah, the regular, your average citizen that just John Q. Public that takes his yard waste out, dumps his grass, throws his limbs in the pile, this doesn't increase theirs at all, with the exception of your monthly refuse cost. So using the yard waste site for the John Q. Public doesn't change. The cost doesn't.
Okay.
Because right now they're not paying anything other than what their monthly $18 a month fee covers, or rate covers. Of that $18 a month, I do have that breakdown.
If I could possibly answer that question for you. You have the 18 inside corporation limits, the 20, which is on your monthly bill. And then you have the $5 for the mosquito spraying and other stuff, which goes to 6. So your difference is $3 per month on average, if you don't buy bag tags or use any other of the services.
Okay.
So your residence would be an increase inside the city limits of $3.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, but I don't think I agree with it.
No. Well, inside corporation is from 18 to 20.
Correct.
And then the mosquito spraying goes from 5 to 6.
No. Those are two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
At your house, at my house, at Dr. Dave's house, you pay $18 a month. Period. That gets you your refuse pickup. That gets you recycling. That gets you mulch. That gets you mosquito spraying. That gets you special pickups during after storms. It covers all of that.
So then
It's the people that live in an apartment out on Trail Drive. They pay $5 a month. Their refuse service is covered by a private hauler, and then that $5 a month for them covers yard waste site, it covers mosquito spraying, and it covers special storm pickups.
So then your difference would be either $2 or $1.
Correct.
Thank you. What other questions?
Discussion. Not a question, but just a discussion point. I've looked at this for some time now. Came to the meeting and listened to the discussion. I feel that I know there's a number that we're looking for, and we need to attain that number to make the fund healthy. And so that number is concrete. We need so much, and it's just the algorithm they use to come up with that. My concern, my feelings were the individual bag tags going from 2 to 4. That's a big burden typically on the people that usually can least take those types of large increases. You might not think it's a lot, but sometimes that's a lot for some people, especially large families or those that don't necessarily have that extra money to take up materials and have large garbage output. I know the number has to be there. I know we have to have the number to make the fund work, and I want that number to be there, but I would just offer a consideration to leave the bag tags at 2 and find another way to adjust the algorithm, the monthly rates for the vast majority of the customers to make up that difference, I guess is what I'm saying. I would just like to have a thought on that or a consideration on that. That's all, thank you.
Andy, do you have the total number of bag tags that were purchased in 2023?
I don't have the total number, and unfortunately, in the fund, it all gets thrown in together with some other items. What I do have is the spreadsheet. Bear with me here.
We have the tag sales.
You have the sales and just divided by 2 then? Correct.
18,276 in sales for tags. Well, I can tell you, and I don't know, I can, through the magic of Excel, I can remove those increases and show you what that does, and tack on something else to the $20 if you would like that. I mean, if you add another $1 to the rate and keep the bag tags the same.
Have to real. I see your point, Bobby, but 2 years ago, we used to have one, the people were allowed one bag, and then they had to buy a bag tag, and we doubled it. We said you can put out 2 bags. And I think that might have led to, helped lead to the situation we're in now. But they already have twice as much garbage they can get rid of without having to buy a bag tag than what there was just 3 years ago.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm
just pointing it out.
I still feel that I've taken that into consideration with this.
Okay.
With this increase.
I'm just pointing it out there.
Thank you.
So,
In Committee 2, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
oh, sorry.
Committee 2, did we have the thought to maybe take that to $3 instead of $4, but then logistically it's, you have $2 tags floating out there and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be a
even number?
I know that we have like a weight limit for each bag. I mean, do we realistically, do we go to each location and be like, yep, this is 25, we're not doing it?
That's all up to the guys picking it up. They know not to hurt themselves when they
Okay,
pick it up.
that's what I was like, what's our standard there to understand?
35 gallons.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 gallon. 30 gallon.
30 gallon bags.
Yeah. 30 gallon 25.
Can I ask the question, when you went to the two bags allowed versus 1, what drove that? If I ask what percent of customers had 2 bags versus 1?
that, I don't know the second part of your question. I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but the first part, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, for those that are on council, was the fact that they stopped taking glass as recycling.
That was a fact.
That was a big thing because they had to throw the glass in the regular disposal.
And at that point, that fund was still very healthy. It wasn't dropping like it is now, even 3 or 4 years ago.
Right. Yeah. It plateaued in about 19 or 20. and then start coming down.
Yeah. The other point I'd like to talk about from what Bob mentioned here is it would be nice to know like how many individual people are consistently needing that extra bag that may not be able to afford the extra $2. And the only reason I'm saying that is there's been times I've driven by a house that somebody's moving out, and I saw 18 garbage bags out there with the tags on them. And I'm thinking, man, I wish they knew that we had that pickup where they could have called for the $5 and some cubic. And how many times is that happening for those people? I mean, that's a one-time thing versus who's doing it consistently and they need the help. And is there a way that, hey, maybe somebody can come to the city building and, like they do for utilities, that we can direct them somewhere to get help with paying for that?
I can only tell you that in my past profession, we worked on a number of cases yearly of people who store garbage. And when they store garbage, that means they didn't have the $2 for the tag to put it on, and they hope that maybe they'll have it next week. And that happens probably to this day. I've been out of the business for 7 years now, but that happened.
Right.
And we work those cases, so I know those cases exist. They're typically found by complaining, where neighbors would call and say somebody's storing garbage behind their house or in their garage or on their front porch. I know it happens. I don't know the extent of it, but I think, in my mind, I think $2 is a lot. I think it's sufficient as far as for me. I mean, I haven't paid $2, but I know there are some. That's just a lot of money. And I have 4 or 5 extra bags, or 2 or 3 extra bags. I just think that if we spread it across the rest of the 3,500 and maybe some, maybe it would be more beneficial to the ones that just aren't switching. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Thank you for sharing that story also, that helps.
So just playing with the numbers, if I leave the bag tags at $2 and $4 versus $4 and $6, and they raise the refuse rates from 18 to 21 versus 18 to 20, we come out with approximately $25,000 more in revenue every year. And that's what these numbers are that I'm showing here. This area over here, and I know it's hard to see. I don't know if I can make it any bigger just the way I'm doing this. I don't have the...
So, Andy, in that recommendation that you just gave, if there was someone that needed to put an extra bag out every week, they would be paying an additional $8 a month with the increase of $2 per tag.
That's correct.
Where this would cost them $1 a month instead of $8, and take care of the issue.
But raise everybody else's.
Right, everyone else is also, but the $1 is a monthly charge, right?
Right.
Yes.
And the bag tag, if they were putting one additional bag out each week, would cost them an additional $8, and now it would cost them $1, cost everyone else $1 as well.
No, if they're still putting a bag out each week, it would go from $2 a week to $4.
Right.
$4 a week.
Times 4 weeks would be additional $8 a
Right.
month.
Right.
If we increase, what you just recommended
60.
would increase only $1 a month for everyone.
Correct.
So that particular
And
person
leave the bag tags
would
also.
save them $7 a month. They would still pay their $2 that they have been, but
Yes.
Well, I have to say, I did a little bit of research to understand the comparison between outside of Napoleon costs. And just in doing so, I discovered that just trash alone for a resident outside, again, out of Napoleon, would be $43 to just get your trash picked up. So cost perspective, I feel like we're on the right path with, we are doing it as far as the city. We have the trucks, we have the manpower. So I just want to make sure that cost-wise, and I think, Bob, you made a good point, I think we're going down the right direction, that we still keep it in-house and that we're still managing the fees and keeping it in a threshold that we can afford.
Right.
Because otherwise, citizens will be looking at least $43 for trash alone.
And again, I mean, I don't feel like I can emphasize enough, it's been 15 years since these rates have increased, and 20 for the arborists fees, so.
Do we see surges in bag tags? Is it at Christmas season, those are the times where you see the large surge in bag tags, or is it a consistent, the same houses have the bag tags week in, week out?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
But would you say the people that consistently put out an extra bag, do they also have recycling containers as well, or are they just putting out garbage? Recycling also?
Any other questions or conversation? Do we want to change the bag tag rate to $4, or do we want to keep it at the 2?
I would suggest to keep it at 2 and raise as the last calculation that Andy did.
So if you do that, you're proposing to Andy to increase something else?
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Well, I would say, you went to the numbers, you balance it. and
It would have to
therefore,
be.
Now
Yep.
it's not going to be balanced.
Right,
So it's where do we want to place the
correct.
burden?
Yeah, and what I proposed by the numbers that I plugged in was an additional $1 a month for your refuse cost would more than cover keeping those at $2 and $4. And the city the revenue would increase by about $25,000 a year.
What's the revenue change if you leave bag tags at 2 and don't do that dollar increase on the refuse fee?
Well, he's running the numbers. Can I ask again, do we know what percentage have utilized tags in a city? If you were guessing. Is it 50, it's not 50%, 25%.
What percentage of residents?
Just a ballpark. I know we don't keep track, but
I'm going to say it's less than 50%.
less than 50%.
And keep in mind, Brian, correct me, the tags just aren't for garbage. Don't they put tags on
Appliances for cleanup and yes.
and items like that?
Our revenue would drop $18,276.
I guess I asked that question, and I understand what Bob's saying, but I also understand that there are citizens out there that may be senior citizens that are looking at it and saying, I put out half a bag every week. So, I mean, it's a balance. Where do we?
So it makes an $18,000 difference, but then what is our collective increase?
No, we're going to loss, right? Loss and run.
We would
lose money, right? Because we're just keeping everything the same.
You gain about $7,000.
No, it would be. So ask a question again, Ross.
So if we leave bag tags at $2, leave the refuse fee at $20, what is our overall increase from our current to what it would be with those changes?
The revenue side of things would decrease by 18,000. What did I say? $18,000 and some change.
So it's a loss from what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're basically doubling what the tagline is
You
anyway.
have to.
You went from 4 back down to 2.
Leave the tag there at 4, as his algorithm says, or if you reduce it to 2, you have to raise the monthly rates across the board to spread out the loss of the tags raised. And at $1, he says that actually increases the revenue an additional $25,000. For the fund. The fund would have an additional $25,000 from his algorithms.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the legislation?
I would like to at least make the motion, as we discussed, to reduce the bags back to $2 and to increase the monthly rate for the regular customers $1 to make up that loss. I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Amanda, please go on.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
You could vote yes, and then we could have further conversation on the next couple of reads.
Yes.
Ross?
Do you have something?
Yeah, I just want to clarify. This is just for the change to the ordinance, not basically voting on the ordinance, just for the change to the ordinance. And you said $21?
21.
Okay. And reducing back to the correct.
Stay keeping it at
Okay.
2.
Just wanted that clarified. Thank you.
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Tom?
So again, we're not setting any fees tonight.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Jordan.
Jordan?
Yes.
Okay, so the legislation has been amended. Now we will vote on the first read of that amended legislation.
Correct.
Okay. And again, for our new members of council, there will be a second read and a third read before this legislation passes. We can amend the legislation even until our second read. So
You can amend it all the way up to the end, and then you can suspend the rules and vote on it right at the very end. You're in charge of the rules as council.
So on the amended legislation, do we have we've already done a motion and second to vote. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
That will pass first read. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Brandy, for putting all that together. I know it's a ton of work, and Chad, for your assistance with that as well.
And Brian?
And Brian.
Yes. Certainly a team effort.
Cool. Radio personnel.
All right, we will move on to item L, second reading of ordinances and resolutions. There are none this evening. Item N, third read of ordinances and resolutions. There are also none. Item N, good of the city. Item N1, discussion or action to set the meeting date and time for the first charter commission meeting. It has been proposed that Tuesday evening at 6:30 on the 20th could be a good date, unless there's anything else that is scheduled for that time.
Have anything?
City manager, does that work for you? Tuesday the 20th at 6:30?
Yes.
No motion needed for that. All right, we'll get that set. If there's any changes and conflicts, we can definitely address that next council meeting.
Ross, what was the time on that?
6:30. Item N2, discussion or action to appoint 2 members to serve on the CIC board. Jen, I imagine you're here for a reason. Do you want to
Number three.
Okay.
Yeah, currently the members for the CSE board were Mayor Mazel and Council Representative Molly Netley.
So I think, well, the mayor on there, so I would like to be appointed to that position, and Molly, who is the chair of the municipal properties and economic development. That's kind of why we selected her a few years ago, and now Brittany is in that role for that chair, and Brittany and I discussed it, and she would be interested in serving as well. The motion to approve.
So moved.
Sorry. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Brittany and Joe. Item N3, discussion or action, review a request for amendment to Shank's CRA agreement that adjusts the completion date to March 31st, 2024. Andy, you want to take this one to start?
Yes, Council President, and I will immediately defer to our CSE Director, Jen Arts.
Welcome, Jen.
Sure, so I think the amendment was in your guys' packets. Originally, the project was to be completed November 30th of last year. Only reason is delay in material, just like with everything else. They were out about 10 to 12 weeks. So they got a late start because, of course, he has a lot of his workers working on his construction project as well. So then everything just kind of, waterfalled down, and they just all got delayed. But if you've driven past there, steel frame is up right now, and it should be quick. They're looking at a March 31st completion date. So all we're doing is just adjusting that project completion date.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. Is there a motion to amend the CRA agreement?
No move.
Second?
Thank you. No legislation needed?
No.
Okay, all right, sounds good. We will bypass that vote. We'll move on to item N4, discussion or action, enter into.
You didn't need legislation vote here. You
Oh,
took
I'm sorry.
first and second
Okay.
on a motion.
To approve the agreement. Okay. My mistake. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
All right. That has been approved. Thank you again, Jen. Appreciate it. Item N4, discussion or action, enter into a contract with Wesco Exeter to provide, oh goodness, all kinds of tough words, Tantalus AMI system and waive the bidding process. That was a doozy.
Thank you, guys. I just made those words up.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, as you know, as you are aware, you did approve the just over $1 million for the AMI system, advanced metering infrastructure system in town. This allows almost real-time reading of our water and electric meters. It allows for remote meter reading, the ability to detect high usage, and also remote shutoffs and reconnects. There has been a considerable amount of investigation completed over the last 2 years by the electrical folks. I know they were kind of hoping to get this done last year. It wasn't budgeted for. So now we're ready to move forward with it. The goal in this whole thing was obviously to get the highest value, the greatest system for the least amount of money, so to speak. And to do that, we can utilize our current AMR, which is Advanced Meter Reading system. And the only company that is really capable of providing the AMI system to utilize our current infrastructure is Wesco with an Ixter. We started purchasing the AMR system almost 25 years ago, I believe. And it's worked well for us. It utilizes Neptune water meters and Itron electric meters. And again, their system, their AMI system, is the only one to utilize those, so we don't have to switch out all our electric and all our water meters. With that said, there will be some of those that will have to be replaced. I will allow our electric folks back there to get into more details exactly how it all works, but we will have to replace approximately 40% of our electric meters. Is that correct? Yeah. And it creates a network large enough to read the balance of the meters. We contacted AMP Communities. I contacted AMP Communities last year, and I got feedback from Deschler and Wapakoneta. Deschler couldn't say enough about it. I got an email this long from Kirk Behrman. He said the only surprises they had with the system were all positive surprises. I also received feedback from Wapakoneta. And Wapakoneta, as you may know, is a community almost the exact same size as Napoleon, with their customer base is almost very similar. The demographics down there are very similar to Napoleon. So last week, I took Mike Dietrich and Brandy and Sean Druitt, and we traveled down to Wapakoneta to get a thorough review of their system. And he was very thorough. And he, again, couldn't say enough good about it. When we asked him, what he would do differently, he thought for a while and said nothing. They've had it for 8 years. So, again, they had meters and things that they didn't have to replace. And they really had good luck with it. Tonight we have Dan Cothern and Mike Dietrich and Greg Kuhlman here, and they can answer any questions you might have in regard to the system. But what we are requesting tonight, and what Greg's memo was about, is to waive the bidding process so that we can go with Wesco and get this done. They gave us an estimate cost of just under $800,000 to achieve this. And so I ask that ultimately I will ask the council director, law director, to draft the appropriate legislation to approve this as waiving the bidding process. With that said, if you have any questions for Dan or Mike or Greg, they're here, so feel free to ask. Or me. I'll try.
Any questions or comments?
I just have a comment. And this is kind of for the newer people on council. When you're asking to waive bidding process, I don't know if you or Billy want to kind of say exactly what the rules normally are with the bidding process.
I mean, basically, so our ordinances and state law requires that we have a charter, and there's a lot of explanation to that as well, but require that certain projects be put out to bid. In this situation, if council finds it in the best interest of the city to waive that process and go forward on one specific suggested or recommended contractor, then the city can do that. The legislation will be drafted in a way that are recognizing charter provisions and ordinances that give us that authority to do so. But council will, after explanation, have to find that it is in the city's best interest to waive that process. And if council does so find, then we will do it as recommended.
Thank you. The reason why I need to explain that, I'd hate for new people to say, yes, that sounds great, not knowing the background. And in my experience being on council for 8 years, I think maybe there's less than a handful of times that we actually waive the bid to do this. I agree with Andy 1,000% on this. I know he's been researching it for since day one of his position here, and going with him to some of the AMP meetings, the APPA meetings, and every time in between our classes and different sessions, we're out there talking to all these other communities, and there are a lot that were saying, hey, you should go with this one, go with that one. And we looked into it, and those were very expensive. We had to buy new meters, and so a lot of homework has been done to get to this point. I just wanted to reiterate that fact.
Yeah, we do use this tactic, for lack of a better term, very, very sparingly. Certainly, I wouldn't have brought it before council if I didn't think it was in the best interest of the city. I do know that Brian just completed, or is completing, their AMI install, and they did not go. I'm not sure. Well, I know of, but they used a different brand of AMI, and it was over $2 million.
It's probably easier to say.
It was.
How long has Walt Canada had him?
8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's probably fair to assume that the cost is not going down.
No, when they mentioned what they paid for it, we were hesitant to tell them what we were
So
going to
the
pay.
longer we wait, it's going to go
Exactly. That's exactly.
regardless of the
Yep.
contract.
Yeah, and as you may recall, last year we brought before you an opportunity to get involved in something called the GRIP grant, and that was basically an AMI that we were going to go with through AMP to acquire, and that was $2 million.
Not only was it $2 million, they did not receive the grant.
They did not receive the grant, but in addition, it was for electric meters only.
Yes.
And would they own it?
It was kind of a funny
There was
situation
question that was still
because of the
being worked
grant.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would end up acquiring it after X number of years.
I think after you paid it off.
Yeah, we get it for $1, but
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation?
I'll motion.
Second. Thank you. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Thank you. Item N5, discussion or action, approval of plans and bid documents for the West Front Street improvements and bike path project. Andy.
Yes, I know Chad's been working on this, and he'd probably be disappointed they sat through a council meeting and didn't get to speak. So I will defer to our Director of Public Works, Chad.
Yes, this is essentially phase 2 of the PATH project. For some that have been around for a little while, the PATH project got to be very large and exceeded the limits of the grant, so we broke it into 2. Phase 2 of it will just be on Front Street from where we stopped out front, and then continues up to Perry Street. As part of the project, we will be repaving Front Street as well as the little stub of Scott from Riverview to Front. The parking lots on each side of the street will be paved. We will modify the traffic pattern with the completion of the project. Front Street from Scott Street to Riverview will become one way. I know it's one way for a portion there just from Riverview to the entrance to the parking lot, but this will be one way the entire length. We'll modify the parking so it's angle parking. We'll move the entrance to the city building parking lot so it's safer and not beside the adjacent building. As part of it, we also paved this parking lot as well as the one in the back. The engineer's estimate's $455,000, and we're requesting approval of the plans and bidding documents so we can get that project advertised and get it on our construction schedule for this summer. The completion date, as outlined, is October 26th, so it would be completed yet this year.
Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Questions?
Is this already in budgeted for?
Yes, it's in the budget.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second?
Thank you. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Thanks again, Chad. Thank you. Item N6, discussion or action, award of HIN Napoleon Safe Routes to School, FY '24.
Yes, Council President. Last week, we opened the bids in regard to the Safe Routes to School project. As you may recall, this had gone out for bids last year, and they all came in above the engineer's estimate, considerably over. And so Chad went back to the state. I was able to secure further funding from the state. And based on that, it will 100% of this project will be covered by state grant funds. I will defer to Chad to speak to this because there is some issue with this currently, and we're hoping to work through it unless he received a phone call before he got here.
No.
So I will allow Chad to speak to it further.
As outlined in the memo, we received these bids last Wednesday. We opened them. We had 3 bids, all below the engineer's estimate. Because this is what's classified as an LPA project, a local public agency, and that just means the grant funding came through the Ohio Department of Transportation, they have stipulations on how bids are awarded that differ from the city's requirements. One of those requirements is your use of a DBE contractor, disadvantaged business enterprise. 5% of this project had to be done by a DBE. The prime contractors who bid these projects are aware of it. It's right on the front of the bid documents, 5%. Well, one of those requirements is when they submit their bid, they have to go onto ODOT's website and upload their DBE commitment, who those DBE contractors are, and what work they're going to be doing. The low bidder failed to do that. They went on the website after the bid and uploaded their DBE commitments as outlined by central office, ODOT in Columbus. ODOT in Columbus is still determining whether or not that's sufficient. As of 4:30, there were 3 people who had to sign off on it. 1 had signed off and the other 2 did not respond. When I spoke to Jason Sneed in Columbus, he apologized, but we can't make the award tonight. If they approve it, then my recommendation would be to award to the low bidder. If they don't approve it, Vernon Nagel, who was the second bidder, did upload to FormStack their DBE commitments. Regardless of what we are required to do, both of those bids were below the estimate and they're both below the grant amount. So the city is still in good shape, but because of the situation with ODOT currently, I would ask that you not take any action on this item tonight, and I should have information to allow us to award it at the next council meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Any further questions, comments, concerns?
Did they say why they didn't? They just overlooked it?
I'm glad you asked. I wanted to point this out. So, as I mentioned, it's an LPA project that's across the whole state. Last Wednesday, there were 13 projects bid across the state that had this same problem. In our bid documents, we have a list of everything that's required with the bid. Normally, there's 4 items. When it's an LPA project, there's a 5th, which is the DBE commitment. We actually, well, I'll give credit to Roxanne. Roxanne caught it. And so we added number 5 that said DBE commitments. Regardless, the contractor missed that in that list. However, Those other 12 projects that opened didn't even have it listed. So the state, my opinion, is that the state needs to modify their procedures to make sure that contractors are aware of that requirement. Larger contractors who bid ODOT projects all the time, they know it. Some of the smaller contractors who do not bid them as often are not aware. And I think that's why we didn't get an answer tonight, was because it happened in so many different projects across the state last week. So it should be better defined, and we're even going to make some modifications in our own bid documents. We're actually going to say you must upload it to FormStack rather than just saying you must define your DBE commitments. But it appears to me there's an issue with the way the state is listing their requirements. It's not in the front end. It's hidden in the appendix in the back. And I don't know if you've seen our bid documents, but they're as thick as what's there in front of Joe. That's our bid documents. So, yeah, they missed it.
Is there a waiver option?
We can't do waivers on them. Not because it's actually a federal law, because the funds that are coming down are from the federal government administered by the state. So this is a federal regulation that we can't supersede. So.
Great questions. Anything else on this topic before we move on? Okay. I'm just guessing that will be on the agenda for next council meeting.
That's the plan. Yes, please.
We will move on to item N7, discussion or action to appoint a representative to the 2024 Executive Council of Maumee Valley Planning Organization for a one-year term. Andy.
Yes, Council President. I received an email from Maumee Valley Planning this past week asking for a representative for the coming year. It meets 4 times a year in March. March, June, September, and December. The meetings are at 4:30 in the afternoon. Previously, this position was held by Mayor Mazel. And it's certainly up to council to appoint a representative to sit on the Maumee Valley Planning Commission's executive committee.
Has that historically been a role of the mayor?
That I do not know. I would imagine it's economic development along those lines. So a lot of the duties of the mayor revolve around BDs. So if Mayor Balaruki so chooses, he may certainly take the appointment. But
I'd be honored to.
Can we have a motion and a second to appoint Joe as our representative to the Maumee Valley Planning Organization?
motion.
Second?
Thank you. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. All right, item O. We will go around the table here. Let's start with Kevin this evening.
Okay. In front of you is the 2024 final budget book. It's the paper form, so everyone on council received their copy, and the mayor received theirs. So that is for you to keep, for you to review. If you have any questions about it, let me know. If you see anything in there that you would like to see added in future copies, because this has changed from years to years, again, please let me know. It is posted on our website and in a PDF version, so you could download it if you would like to do that, or I could email you the final budget book, whichever way you'd like to see fit. But I just wanted to present that to you, and the holdup of it, why it was a month late, is that we had to finalize 2023 because it has some historic numbers in there to make sure that that is all taken care of before it's moved on.
Perfect.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Kevin. Tom?
No, thank you.
Dr. Dave? Brittany? Mr. Mayor?
Just want to welcome Jordan. Appreciate you stepping up and being on council. And also congratulations to the Napoleon wrestling team. They're going to state. Good luck. Hopefully they can continue their winning streak. All I have.
Ken?
Welcome, Jordan. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Jordan?
Yeah, just a second. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for the trust and the responsibility you guys all put in me, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Billy?
Welcome to Councilperson McBride, and well done, Joe, on your first State of the City address.
Thank you.
It's got to be nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
No, not at all.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
And I'll reiterate that. I mean, I thought you knocked it out of the park. Great job. Thank you. Yeah, very nicely done. And I was going to go over and review these AMP numbers. It's I just included it in the packet. I find it interesting. Hopefully you do too. But this page specifically in the packets I thought was pretty interesting. Just talk about our power last year, how much we used, why we used it, yada, yada, yada. So, but I won't cover it any more than that. That's, the only other thing I have is I'm asking for a brief executive session for compensation of personnel.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, nice job on your speech.
Thank you.
Jordan, really excited to have you. I know there was an interest before coming on council. It sounded like you watched numerous council meetings online. I've even received emails from Jordan voicing his opinion before he was on council, so I always appreciate that. Welcome to the team. I did want to mention on the AMP topic quickly, AMP is offering a public power certification class. I plan to attend. It's 4 courses, 1 hour each. The first class is this coming Thursday at 2 p.m. It is all via WebEx, Skype. So if you're interested, that is a free benefit for us being members to AMP. So also want to mention briefly, had the pleasure of attending Chief Mac's last call. Was that last week? The week before?
19th.
Pretty awesome to be able to witness that and to send off Chief the way he deserves. Brittany, nice job organizing that and for your role there. And Chief Legg, it's been said numerous times, but we're excited to work with you. I will also call an executive session just briefly, and I promise it'll be briefly this time, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or employees. With that said, do we have a motion to go into executive session? I guess mine just covers both of those.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. A motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or employees.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Amanda, please call the roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.